Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. I am very excited because I'm going to be sharing with y'all my top 10 palettes for this fall season. Today is the first official day of fall here, so what better way to kick it off than to talk about eyeshadow palettes, my favorite thing. If you are new here, hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here at my channel, we don't try to be perfect, we just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. Shimmer, glitter, fall eyeshadow palettes, we are here for it. So if that sounds good to you, I do hope that you will subscribe before you leave today, because I upload lots of new videos every single week and we are here to have fun. Now, if you're looking to maybe buy a new palette, I'm gonna have some recommendations for you for fall. Or if you just want to shop your stash, maybe you can look at these color stories, see if you have something similar, go through what you have, use the makeup you have, love it. I just want to maybe give y'all some inspiration. I love talking about eyeshadow palettes. I love fall. We are gonna still have a hot weather here where I am in Mississippi for a while, but I'm still excited for the fall looks. So yes, I have a lot of palettes. I decided to go with 10 palettes from 10 different brands because I didn't want to just repeat, you know, I didn't want to be like, this brand has X, Y. Of course there are tons of fall palettes, but I wanted to pick 10 different ones from 10 different brands and maybe give you some inspiration. Okay, first up, I have the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I have been playing with this palette so much, and I feel like this newest release from Natasha Denona is such a fall color story. I love these berries and cool tones. I think it is beyond beautiful, like so insanely beautiful. I know we have like this bright pink here and kind of this rose gold pinky shift shade up here, but these tones, like look at this bottom row, that is so completely fall to me. These shades right here, I mean, beautiful. This is beautiful. I do have a video up here on my channel showing 3 looks using this palette in case you're wanting some inspiration. I have a neutral look along with some berry and pink tone looks. I mean, this shade right here alone is just so beautiful for fall here. Y'all know I cannot help but swatch, even though I have videos up like with these palettes showing swatches. I just think that's so insanely beautiful. And this palette, I mean, Natasha Denona makes some of my favorite formulas, so I love that this palette has so many, there we go, so many like cream to powder formulas from her, because those are some of my favorite shadows that she makes. I just love everything about this palette. Again, if you want to see more with this, I do have a video up on my channel and I've used it a ton since filming that. Okay, the next palette that I'll share with y'all is actually the palette I'm wearing today, and this is the Norns palette from Odins Eye. This is just so beautiful. First of all, y'all know I love Odins Eye. I do have a code with them. Any codes I have, I will link down below. I will link all the palettes and I'll give you any information I have, but this is gorgeous. I created this colorful fall look today using this palette. I used this shade right here, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, lots of shades from here, okay? I do have videos up. I think I have a video on every palette I'm going to talk about, so I won't keep repeating myself. And some of these I actually have Instagram tutorials up with too, so just know if I talk about it, I have a video with it in case you're looking for inspiration. But I love this black shade right here. I have this on as eyeliner across my upper lash line today. Look at this shade right here, this red shade. Already we have like fall tones right there. It's so beautiful. And look at that kind of mossy metallic green. Just stunning. I feel like this is like a beautiful, colorful but still fall palette. You have such beautiful finishes in here. You have mattes and metallics and these super shimmery, sparkly shades, which are just like so shifty and over the top, and I love everything about this palette. This palette launched earlier in the year, and I feel like fall is a perfect time to pull it out. Maybe you already have this palette, but like look at that color story right there. That just looks like Thanksgiving dinner. Like it looks like fall to me. Okay, on the more drugstore side, I wanted to share this BH Passion in Paris palette. This has quickly become one of my favorite palettes from BH. It's so beautiful. I love this because I feel like it's very unique to the BH line. I have lots of BH palettes. I really like their brunch series, their travel series, but there's something so unique and so fall about this palette because at first glance, for me at least, my eye goes to these purpley blue tones, which are so beautiful. They really are in the neutrals. But then they included these two kind of cranberry shades, which I think really set this palette apart from some of the other palettes that are in this format. And I love these deep, dark tones. Like, look, again, to me, that is such a fall color story. Let me give you a little hand swatch so maybe you can see better. But it's just so beautiful. The formula in this palette is top notch. Like, these are amazing shadows. Not just amazing for the price, but amazing. We want to have quality shadows for our money, and this palette is going to give it to you. You have this beautiful dark, deep green here with this beautiful silver. I think this is stunning. I actually created 4 looks using this palette. I have a video on that, but this is such a unique color story and I really love it. I just think the way this palette is curated is so nice, and it's definitely perfect for fall. Okay, again, staying with that drugstore price point, I have to mention the Sonic Bloom palette from Colorpop. The packaging is just gorgeous, first of all, but then when you open it up, you have such a pretty palette. We have this beautiful pumpkin orange right here with this goldy orange shimmer. We have the beautiful, what would you call that, like a raspberry shade, and then we have this shade that's kind of a shifty blue brown shade. I always have the most fun swatching the shimmers, so I'm trying to swatch more mattes for y'all too. Again, I have a video with this, so of course you can see full swatches and everything from me, but I just want to give you a little taste in this video. I always have fun swatching my eyeshadows, so isn't that beautiful in fall? Like, I could definitely see myself wearing that to the pumpkin patch. I'm very excited for all the fall things. I love warm weather. I love the summer. Summer is probably my favorite season, but there's a lot of fun things to do in the fall too. While y'all are watching this, I'm actually on vacation, but I've already talked with my sister-in-law and my mom, and we're planning to take the kids to the pumpkin patch. I can't wait, and this, like, I could see this for an eye look. I'm excited just thinking about it. Okay, this palette I debated putting in here because it's out of stock right now, but I had to put this in here. This is the BeautyBay Wilderness palette. BeautyBay has said that they're gonna try to bring this back. I don't know what that means, but I wanted to include it in case they bring it back, or if you already have your hands on it. Look at this grungy, beautiful color story. I really love the BeautyBay formula. I love that we have this kind of like, that's so beautiful. Like, when the leaves start to change here, some of the leaves will change to this color, and it's so beyond beautiful. While you also have this shade and this shade where you can tone it down and you can make a neutral look if you want. We have the dark greens, which I love, and then we have these, look at that. Doesn't that just look so swampy and fall? Here, let me put this palette down and show you these swatches again because I think it's just stunning. I really hope BeautyBay brings this palette back. I just love a fall color story. I love jewel tones. I think they're so beautiful. I love the depth, everything about it. And this palette is only $15, which I think is amazing. You have these shimmer shadows that are really more of like a cream texture. I really enjoy. I find the mattes to be very easy to work with. But I did, listen, I'm going to show you kind of an 11th palette I pulled in just in case you're like, oh, I really like this color story, but it's just a bit too big. Because I know not everybody wants a palette this large. You know, this is what, 20 shades? You may not want a palette this large, or if you're like, I don't want to wait for it to come back in stock, I think the ColourPop Lush Life palette will give you the same vibe. Now, if I had to pick between the two, I would go with the BEAUTYBAY because I like having the options and I feel like, you know, you get some deeper shades. But let me show you Lush Life next to it. I feel like you can get the same vibe. Definitely not dupes. I mean, this palette has 20 shades, whereas this one has, what, 12 shades? But you do have the greens in here. You have the more kind of burnt oranges. You have some neutral options and a blue. So if you're like, you know what, I can't get the BEAUTYBAY one, maybe look into this one. This palette is beautiful too. I think this is one of the best palettes ColourPop has ever done. It's just such a good formula. You have a good mix of mattes and shimmers, which I think is really nice. And again, look at the size difference. If you're like, you know what, I don't want that big old palette, but I want the vibe. Look how much smaller Lush Life is to the BEAUTYBAY palette. Like, it's a lot smaller. So this will be kind of like the 11th palette out of the 10, but I'm here to give y'all options. Okay, I've been giving y'all color. So let me kind of show you a few neutral palettes that I would choose. First up being the Melt Mary Jane palette. I am somebody who loves this palette. I think this is so nice. I've talked about this so many times on my channel, but this is a cool toned grungy dream. I think it's so beautiful. I love the texture of shadows that you get in this palette. I really like different finishes and textures when I'm playing with eyeshadows. So to have these smoky tones, I think are so beautiful, and you can just get such a cool look on the eyes. I think this is a really fun one to play with. I love Melt as a brand. I think they just make really cool eyeshadows. Like, look at that. If you're wanting elevated neutrals, if you're wanting different textures to your eyeshadow, different finishes, you know, you don't want just your basic mattes and shimmers, look at the Melt, because I feel like the mattes build up really well and you can get some really cool finishes with these shimmer shades. Like, some of these are a bit like gritty and thick, and it just looks really cool and unique on the eyes, and that's what makes me love this palette. Like, it's just a very different. You have different formulas in here, and I really like that. Okay, another neutral palette for y'all is Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse. This screams fall to me. This actually launched last year, I believe. But look inside. Isn't that beautiful for fall? I think this is so pretty. You have warm neutrals, you have cool neutrals, and then you have those right down the middle neutrals that are not warm and not cool. But you have these silvers for a cool tone look with the blues. You have these bronzy shades to make looks more warm. I just think this is cool. Again, with this palette, you're going to see different formulas and different textures, which I really like. Lunar Beauty is one of my favorite makeup brands. I just really enjoy the packaging, the products, like the formulas, everything about it I love. I think this is, again, when I'm looking at neutral palettes, I want elevated neutrals. I want some special formulas. I want some special textures, different finishes. So again, I mean, the packaging is so fun and inspiring to me. The mirror inside, like, everything about this packaging is so luxurious to me. And then on the inside, you can just create such beautiful fall looks. Like, I think just sticking with this bottom row alone would be such a fun, deep dark fall nighttime look. Okay, I have a half colorful, half neutral fall palette to share with y'all, and that is the Alien Cosmetics Not Normal palette. First of all, she looks so cute and so grungy and so fall to me, but opening up the palette, we have these beautiful neutral shades over here, and then we have these fun colors. This shade right here, perfect for fall. I have this shade down here. I mean, look at that. Does that not just look like a cozy fall color story? I'm so into this. I know I've been raving about this palette a lot lately because I've only had it for a month or two, something like that. But I just really enjoy it. I think this palette is super unique with the mix of the greens and the purples and the kind of taupe shades. I think it's just really interesting to me. It makes me feel like I want to be creative. I feel inspired when I look at it. And I love that I can do neutral or colorful looks. Okay, this palette is also from last year, and this is the Jolie Beauty Sorceress palette. I think this launched around Halloween time of last year. You have this beautiful mirror inside that says, "You look simply bewitching." And not only is the theme so fun and makes me think of Halloween time, but the color story is gorgeous and the shadows perform so well. It is an amazing palette. This is the first palette, the first and only palette I have from Jolie Beauty, and I know they've teased at maybe a sister palette to this coming out. At the time of me filming this, again, I am pre-filming before I leave for vacation, but right now, for me, they have not released like any photos or anything, just kind of hints. This is such a beautiful, fun, Halloween-inspired fall color story to me. You have these beautiful deep purples, you have these teals, these greens, you have these cool tones. Like, there is nothing warm about this palette. It is very cool and grungy and fall inspired, and I love that. I'm really like, I was in awe when I bought this palette because there are multi-chromes in here. I don't know how well you're gonna see like me swatching on my hand, but I do have a video up showing this palette in action with swatches and everything. But this is a teal to gray to purple shift. It's just so insanely beautiful, and I was like, wait, what? This palette does have 4 pressed glitters, which I know turns a lot of people off to palettes, but I don't mind them. I actually have applied them to my eyes, and I do think they look nice, but I hope in the future they decide to exclude pressed glitters from their palette, because they definitely aren't like my favorite. But I just love this palette so much. It definitely makes me want more from the brand, and I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting to see their holiday Halloween palette for this year, because I know, like, if this is part 1, part 2 has got to be crazy beautiful. Again, we have the option for neutrals. The black metallic shadow down here, so good. The black matte, so good. Like, I cannot say enough good things about this palette. I just really, really, really enjoy this one. The formula's good and the packaging is so cute. Okay, y'all were just waiting, right? Y'all knew. Y'all were like, when is she gonna get to the newest palette in her collection? That is Carnival for the Antidote from BPERFECT and Stacey Marie. I think this is so fun, but this palette is huge. Look at that though. That is fall. When Stacey Marie talked about this palette, she said she wanted this to be the antidote for the color lover, and it definitely is. We have lots of neutral tones right here in the middle, but then, you know, she still gave us that color we want. We have yellows and oranges and pinks and purples and these kind of saturated deep tones. We have the greens over here. All of this just screams fall to me. I do have 2 looks up on my channel with this palette and kind of a third up on my Instagram if you're interested in seeing it in action. But this is so beautiful. I've worn this palette outside of filming and I think it's so pretty. Yes, it is huge. You see it in comparison to my face. It is huge. But if you're like, you know what? The more shadows, the better. I want to mix and match. I want to blend and play and create. This is such a good palette for that because you can just dip your brush into whatever you want to. You're going to create a beautiful look because all of these colors flow so nicely together. I will say I cannot wait to see what else is released for holiday. I want to see what's coming for fall. There are so many more palettes I could have talked about, but I wanted to narrow it down to the 10 that I'm loving for fall right now. I can't wait to see what melt releases. I can't wait to see. At this point for me, I haven't seen the new Nomad palette. There are so many brands that I can't wait to see what they do, and this is just to give you some inspiration. I love all of these palettes. I want to tell you what else is on my face before I go, because I know I'll forget if I don't say it. I'm wearing my Charlotte Tilbury foundation, my Pat McGrath concealer. I'm wearing my Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder and my Dior Powder No Powder. I'm wearing my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand and powder bronzer. Yes, a lot of makeup today. For blush, I'm wearing my Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in PINKGASM. I have on my Sigma, what do you call it, Glow Kissed highlighter palette. Already told you the Norns palette on my eyes. And lips is JK Magic from Charlotte Tilbury with Lawless Daisy Pink. So that's my look today. My jewelry is Ana Luisa. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in another video. But before you go, please leave down below, tell me what your go-to fall palettes are, what you plan to reach for this kind of fall season. I want to hear from y'all, but thanks again for watching. Bye!